So I'm looking at your account now. And so you're talking about that you have a list of 1,000 people with name, phone number, and email, right? So we'll talk about a few things, but the first thing you want to be thinking of is, let's say, so you see here, can you see
I
my screen?
don't see your screen, Vince.
I can see it.
I can. Wait a minute.
Maybe look at the Zoom icon at the bottom of your screen there.
Is- Oh, okay. It was behind. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I have three screens, so I'm put you over to the right, left, the right side. Okay.
Okay. There's a message here that says we can't create a custom audience because your business, it's just not configured right. So there is a thing right here, it says here, and I think the instructions on how to do that, on how to fix your Facebook account is right there. Whoever runs your account, if you both have the right kind of admin access to your business page, you can fix that right there.
Okay.
Once you do that, you will be able to upload this custom audience, which you could just call expireds, right?
Right.
And it's got to look like this.
Right. That's the
Right.
way I have it in that, what is it, CVS or CR, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So you, as long as it, and don't hide the columns. I had one guy hide all the columns, thought he was going to be smart, and there was like 20 columns of data. And Facebook won't tell you've done it wrong. You can't use it.
Okay.
Delete the data that's not necessary. It's only going to be 4 columns. You upload it, you import it, it lives in your account.
Okay.
So you'll have that list. And once you have that list, you might want to create a landing page there is a landing page for expireds,
Okay.
but you could also create an ad on like sold properties that have sold in your area. You would hit those people because it's going to say this sold and that's going to affect your home value. You could do that. Now, I know you're talking about budget and I know that I'm going to give you some free things to do as well, but this just like, since we're on Facebook, that's what you would do.
But
You,
is it, Vince, easier? Besides the soul, is it easier because I get a list every day? I keep putting it into the list of expires and cancel, because cancel to me is the same thing as expired.
yeah.
So that's it. That's what I'm trying to work. If they cancel every day, I'm getting canceled like crazy. I can show you when, but
Let me ask you,
yeah,
why do you think they're getting canceled?
I have no idea. I think they're just taking it off the market. Maybe because they had a bad agent. I don't know.
They're getting stale on the market.
Yeah. I think to me is you got high interest rates and you're not getting what you want on your seller price. And that's probably the big answer to why you're not getting listings is people know I'm not going to get what I want. And that's the overall kind of story I think that you have there. And I'm not sure about Arizona inventory, but it's certainly building up in other states. So that's probably the problem that you've got. So there's one thing though that I want to say regarding a list, because you're getting new ones added. In our system, you can you could call it expired and canceled, but you can't add to that list from our system. So if you're getting new ones added all the time from your service,
Right.
you might be able to do it inside Facebook, but you need to figure this part out, which is you can't even create a custom audience.
Okay.
So get that fixed. Then you
Okay.
can do that. Then you can run ads. But I would say this too, like, what's the demographic of homeowners in your market? Let's say it's plus 50, just for conversation's sake.
Okay.
Do all those people live on Facebook? Maybe only 20%.
Okay.
I don't actually know, but I'm just thinking out loud. Older folks, they don't even like social media. It's only the
Right.
grandparents that want to see their kids know that, oh, I'm going to go on Facebook and follow. Then you're going to reach those people. So you could also, like, what's your CRM?
We use
Wise
one
Agent.
agent.
So you could upload that list to Wise Agent, right?
Yes.
And you could call them expired and canceled. And that list, you could continue to add more and more
Every day.
every day. And you could run an ad from Wise Agent on our expired landing page, right? So this is free, right? And this is probably more effective than Facebook in this way.
Okay.
So let's see, you got a expired page. Here's FISBO.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Vince, when I'm downloading, see, all these have names.
Yeah,
Now, when I get the download, they could be Scottsdale, Rio Verde, Mesa.
sure. Hold on. So here's expired Scottsdale, right?
Correct.
I'm going to click on here and I'm going to click on edit. And I'm going to just take out the word Scottsdale.
I think we have one that's generic that just says expired Arizona.
Yeah. So let's do that. Or we can just create one that says Arizona. But I'm going to just change this right now.
Okay.
And I might suggest changing the background picture
Right.
to something that looks like Arizona. There's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
like nice kind of desert sunset view, right? That's generic. So that works. And you could do this with any of ours, right? Any of our of our landing page. You could make that look a little more like Arizona. That's going to be
Right.
comfortable. So that's once you have that and you've uploaded that list, there's an e-flyer for your database. And I guarantee you, Wise Agent will allow you to do this.
Right.
No problem. So if I click here, that's what it looks like right there.
Okay.
So let me see what happens if I can send this. What's that going to do? Yeah, it says didn't sell your Arizona home. I can help. So I'm going to send this to you. Let's see. Not sure what that is. I want to send a test email. Oh, here, send test email.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to go to you, right? And now you'll see what that looks like. So if you go into the system, instead of sending a test email, you can actually copy it, the code right here, take it to Wise Agent and blast those people.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's going to be more effective than a Facebook ad
Okay.
because you have the list, you know,
Right.
expired and canceled. And so you've got that. And then you've got PDF guides for homeowners.
Okay.
Each one of these are branded to you on every page. You want to concentrate on the seller ones, right? What do you think is going to be this one here, 12 mistakes to avoid?
Right.
How to sell your home in a changing market, right? There are some things here that are relevant to your market right now.
Right.
And so you can say, okay, there's more down there, but let's just say 5 dangers of overpricing, like
Right.
probably what's happened to most of you.
Right.
Click on marketing tools, get the e-flyer for your database. And the e-flyer for your database has that link and that link are all landing pages.
Okay.
You have to give your contact information if you want something from those. If you have the list, emailing them once or twice a week with either a PDF guide or a landing page, or maybe you have something like if you have a listing in your account, I would use an e-flyer from that as well, because they may, like, for instance, let's say you have something that's active for sale right now.
Right.
Just blasting that same list and saying, hey, I'm selling homes. And then later on, you're saying, hey, you got to think about this when selling your home. I think actually email is way better. And then print costs money, but I would probably mail something to them.
Oh.
And one thing that you can do, let's just go over here to the listing side here. This one's expired. These are expired. So
This is the Boxwood one is active for us.
yeah.
That's one of ours.
So I would actually take the e-flyer for the database, and every couple of weeks I would blast this on that list of expireds. So
Okay.
they can see that you're selling homes. And when you sell the home and you close it, and you can say, I sold this. So I think one, leveraging that is going to be very smart, but also let's go back to landing pages. So there's something that I would do, and you have a choice, but with a list, anytime you have a list, we tell you to do 3 things: run ads on it, do emails on it, and do print on that. And you have all that data. I don't know if Facebook ads, like I've already said, will be the most effective, but you can, but it might be smarter to create let's see here. let's do this filter by type, property valuation plus. Okay, so this is Arizona. Go to marketing tools, and this is going to have some spend and it's going to have some work.
Right.
So there's two things you can do. Not running an ad, door hangers.
Right.
So this door hanger, if you take this to Vistaprint, I know I have a client who's printing up batches of 1,000. Now,
Okay.
this is a long-term play. So, you have to understand what I'm saying here.
Right.
This says home sales are in, right? And you want to get this out, scan here to get your free home value, right? So you can do that sort of thing. There's also postcards. The thing about this, if you do the door hangers, is you can say, you can just use them as you need them because you're getting that new list, right?
Yeah.
So if you're not driving all over Arizona, that might be effective. For our clients, what they typically do with this door hanger is they will just walk the neighborhood that they want to own, not door knock, just hang it and keep walking.
We bought those plastic sleeves that Scott told us.
Yeah.
You
Oh.
slip it in that and then maybe put something else in there, or would you just put that in there?
The plastic sleeve for the circle prospecting letter or for what?
Yeah.
It can be used for door hangers.
Oh, so you have a plastic sleeve for door hanger. Okay.
So
So
it's got the little circle in it and you just stick it on that. But he was really talking about doing the letter and putting a letter in there.
yeah, and you can do that too. There's just,
Okay.
that's more, to me, that's a little more like you got to print more, get them in the letter. Where if you just send off the deal over to the door hanger, you're just walking and not even knocking, you're just hanging it. Clear, scan for your home value. That's what it's about. So you can do that either way. Scott and I always have like other ideas of how to engage your market. You can choose what you want to do. There's nothing wrong with that. What I think Scott would have said, I didn't hear him say it, but we have our other clients doing it. They're printing PDF guides and they're giving you this letter at the same time. So the PDF guide is a little more generic. Maybe it's one of those big topics that we were talking about. And then here you can get your home value. Our clients who do this, they get home values. You send it to Vistaprint, let it get them back and you just put them out. Right? Either way is going to work there. But you also have an e-flyer for your database. And this is something that you should send to those expireds because I guarantee you those poor people are getting called by hundreds of agents.
That's what I don't like to do, is, Vince,
No.
because I get a list today. You know how many people right now are calling those people?
Oh, I'm sure an enormous amount. And you should send an email, like you should get them in there and send them this email and say,
Right.
here's the home sold report. Here's what's going on last month. You could even edit the message. I know that your home didn't sell, but you could go look at the address and say, hey, these homes sold in your area last month. And because you're just getting a few a day. This might be a smart way to customize that. And this is free, right? It's a better thing of doing. And then if you feel like it, like I would say, I would focus on email and print with these expireds or FSBOs. And if you feel like we got a little extra money, let's run an ad once a month and just see what happens.
Okay.
You have to get your account set up so you can do a custom audience. You know what I'm saying? And I also wonder, I would hope, and I don't know, but let me go look over here. I'm in Facebook now, right?
Okay.
And I'm going to go look. I'm just going to show you, this is my music page. So ad center. See, is that the right page? Ad manager. I think it's an ad manager that you can see your custom audiences. You can actually create a custom audience in here. You see this button here? It says
Yes.
audiences.
Yep.
So you click on audiences. And so there's a couple things you could do. Like maybe you create a custom audience once a month. And I've never created a custom audience inside the scene. But you see here, it says create custom audience, right? What's your source? Custom, blah, blah, blah. And then you create it. And this just takes more steps to do than if you did it through our system.
Okay.
But you do need, I think even inside of Facebook, you're not going to be able to do. But the reason why I'm bringing you here is, and maybe you can only see it, is I don't know if you can edit a custom audience. I know you can't edit, meaning you can't add more people.
Right.
So if you create this custom audience, and let's say that you go into listings to leads and you follow the instructions and you fix your account so that you can create a custom audience, and then you run an ad for a month, right? You don't run it for 30 days, but I'm saying like you use that for 1 month and then you gather the other people and then you create another custom audience, and it's going to be called June expireds. And it's
Right.
going to have your current list of 1,000 and the extra 100 or whatever. And then you start using that one. And that's in case you can't customize your audience. And hopefully you can delete them so you don't have a bunch of audiences sitting there. But honestly, email is probably the number one thing I would recommend.
Okay.
And you gotta be smart about it, because let's look at this. Let's click on, so this is the Scottsdale expired, right? And this is our generic stuff.
Right.
Now, that's cool. You might be able to do better. You might have some thoughts about that, but a subject line is really important.
Right.
This subject line is obvious. We create hundreds of tools here.
Yeah.
We're not thinking of what is the very best way to
Right.
get people to open it. We should review it, but is that the best line? Like, and Larry, you've been in the business for a while, right?
Yep.
You might know like some words that might be like, is the question, are you getting what your home is worth? Can you, or something like that? Like, cause I think if people are canceling, it's not because they're getting too many offers. You can make that punchier, and you could even customize this. This tends to work. But the key is, and you'll know from Wise Agent, your open rate, right? How many people are opening it? And I would go generic just like this first time and just let's do it. And then next week, when we do it again, I'm going to change it with my own language. What's the pain point? Like figure out what's the pain point of people who can't sell their home. Why are they doing it?
Scott, on some of them that I do call, I go back like 6 months.
Sure.
So I call them, oh, my agent didn't do this. So I never heard anything from my agent. So I'm thinking of a heading, are you happy with your agent?
Yeah, totally.
Or were you happy with your agent? Did he do
Yeah.
his job or her job?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Because that's what this is. That makes total sense to me. Because when you look at these bullet points, what was not right? Right.
Exactly. When
Right.
you said that, that's what that thought came into my way. Was it
Yeah.
your agent that didn't do what he was supposed to do, or make it
Yeah.
up?
Yeah. And that's the thing there, right? If they click on that link, or if they click on that, they're going to be
Right.
dropping on a page, right?
Now, when they do that, Scott, I'm Scott.
Yeah.
Vince, and do I get notification?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your leads show up in the leads tab. We should
Okay.
be emailing them to you. And we should be, let me go look here. You probably got, okay, let me take these out. Didn't you say you're using Wise Agent?
Yes.
So did you configure Wise Agent here?
I think I don't remember that. Tell you the truth, Vince.
Okay.
All I know is that I love listings to leads, but there's a learning curve to it.
Sure. Yeah.
And there's agents that are using it that are very successful.
Yeah.
I brought this up to we belong to a team. I don't know how many there are, maybe 30 or 40. And I wanted to ask either you or Scott, when we have our we have a technical meeting every 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And maybe you guys can get on to a Zoom like this and explain to the team what it does. Because when I'm explaining, they're like, I said, it does everything. It really does everything. And it doesn't cost any money. It
Yeah.
does cost money, but it doesn't cost any money.
Yeah. It's pretty cheap. Yeah.
You
So-
know,
One thing I just want to finish, but I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
But Scott is not great at finishing a sentence. So I would recommend that you just get me on the call when you have time.
Okay.
Scott
No,
gets
I mean,
crazy and rambles.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? But we
no,
do.
but I'll give you a couple of dates. So you say, okay, I'm available at this time.
Yeah.
We always have them on a Thursday at what is it, 2:30, right, Lo?
Yeah.
It's either our meeting or it's our tech meeting. Either one, you could be there.
Sure.
Then we not all of them come, so we're also on Zoom. But I think this program is so great that I always talk about it, but I can't talk about it like you can talk about it
Sure.
because I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
I think one thing you want to think of, and this is true. So just let me know the dates and I'd be happy to join. When we talk about farm marketing and Scott talks a lot about that and I talk about it, and that's like Scottsdale. Is that your number one farm? You got to buy a list of people with equity. You got to upload that list to Facebook and hit them with ads so that you're not doing a 15-mile radius around Scottsdale. You're just
Right.
hitting people. You're using that in Wise Agent and emailing them every week. Now, if that list is between 5 and 10,000 people, which people with 5 years equity and more is probably a big number.
Right.
If it's above 5,000, I tell you, send an email from us, any of our emails, because they all have call to action twice a week.
Okay.
Mail something to them once or twice a month. That could be a just sold postcard. That
Right.
could be home valuation to change, whatever it is. That's how you hit a farm market. You have to think of that the same way as this market, which is an expired market.
Right.
I don't think Facebook ads are going to work that well. I would say in this situation, you run a Facebook ad. I would test it out once a month in the beginning and see,
Right.
but I would email them twice a month or
Okay.
I'd email them twice a week and I would mail something to them like a postcard or a letter, like Scott said, or even if you're not paying for your door knocking this stuff, get something in print once or twice a month.
Okay. Now, what we did, Scott, we're doing an open house on Saturday.
Okay.
It's low. What's the price of that home?
It's just under 2 million.
Now, right around there, Scott, I did not a circle, but I pulled all the homes up around that house.
Just in that immediate area, we got 17 that these people have been in since the late 90s and early
Yeah.
2000s.
Yeah.
Now,
Is this
what
the
would
one
you-
here on Gilbert Avenue?
N-
No.
No,
No, it's not on there yet.
Oh,
it's
it's
not
not.
on there yet.
Okay.
But what would you do in that case, Scott? Scott,
All right. Don't worry about that.
would you not
We
door knock,
only
but just-
have the homeowner's name and address. We don't have emails or phones.
Yeah. Okay. And you're doing an open house?
yes, on Saturday.
You only have the address.
Yes.
Okay. You don't want to take my number one thing is I would get it in here. I would save the open house and I would take this letter and I would door knock it or drop it off in an envelope.
Okay.
Like this is the nearby homeowner letter. Okay. So it says, hey, we've got an open house from 1 to 3. Come check it out. Scan here. That affects your home value.
Right.
Like this is, they're either going to become a buyer lead or a seller lead. You're looking for them as a seller lead. And this is really effective. Like we literally just had somebody a month ago print out 50 of these. She borrowed a listing from somebody else, did the open house and door knocked 50 of these pieces of paper and got her own listing because she was going to sit down for the weekend on this house. So you could door knock these or put them on an envelope or whatever, get them to those people. But there's actually the more people that see this letter in the neighborhood, the better. And those are big $1 million houses you're talking about. And I guess you're saying it's a big multi-million-dollar home. So we want to target those kinds of people. And this doesn't look that slick, but that's why it works. If we made it look really glossy, they may not even figure it out. You know what I mean? This is designed to scan and make a decision in 5 seconds. Walk to my computer and go.
Well, some of them people, Vince, bought those houses for like 600,000, They're
Sure.
over $2 million right now.
Sure.
I wish that was me.
And
But,
that's right. And you can see here that you can go find out about that home that's for sale. And you could literally go, oh, I want to go look at it. I'm curious what it's worth. And so if they go here, they're going to be looking at this home and they're going to see, oh, it's priced what? It's just going to be useful for them. And, if they want their home value, they can get their home value too.
and I think some of them would, because some of them bought that house in 1998. Maybe now I say, hey, you
Yeah.
know what?
Let me tell you another thing, like those kinds of people, when I mentioned getting print, this is something you need to think about definitely in your market.
Yeah.
Like you have a list of expireds.
Yes.
You could mail this to them, right? Now there should be a print tool. There isn't one designed, but you could probably figure out how to print that. Running an ad like this might be actually smart to do in your market. Are there
Right.
older folks? You don't even have to be targeting. You could just say, hey, you know what? You got value in your home. If you had a targeted list of like Scottsdale homeowners with over 5 years equity, they're probably all seniors. And there's at least half of them are thinking I got to downsize. And that's if you got a multi-million-dollar home, it's big and your kids are gone. So
Right.
you could just say, hey, I'm going to go buy a link at GoDaddy and call
Right.
it Arizona empty nester. Like you could go buy that or something else that's clever and then just create a letter or do a postcard or whatever and mail. Like that would be one of the things that you might want to involve in your marketing, because you don't want to send the same thing all the time because
No. And some people, Vince, have a lot of luck with postcards.
yeah,
And we've tried, listen, we've tried everything but the right way. And it never worked for us, the postcards. But, this here, because those people, these are big homes.
yeah,
Vince. These aren't like 2 bedrooms.
yeah, that's right. You can't be, not for 2 million. And that's why I'm saying like empty nesting might be a way to approach it. It's something that they're probably thinking of. Do we need to cash out?
Okay.
And even your expired list is, and as I say, you want to email them once or twice a week.
Right.
You want to mail something once or twice a month, right? It could be some letter, it could be a letter from a PDF guide. It could be a letter on the back of what is your homework, or it could even be a letter that's saying, hey, if you're an empty nester and you want to think about getting equity, let's talk, go find out about it. Get your home back. Different ways of reaching the same people.
Now, let me ask you this, Vince. The more you put into your budget, is it going out, it's getting to more people, or
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So if you did this ad and it's a $35 budget,
Right.
usually when you're trying to get a listing lead, the reach costs more and the lead costs more. If you're doing an open house ad, those leads often cost $3 each,
Okay.
maybe $3.25, right? So that would be if it's a $35 ad, which is a default setting, and they're charging $3.25 a lead, you're going to get 10 leads and they'll have a little change left over. Does that make sense? On a seller lead, I don't know what they charge for this kind of lead right here, but seller leads typically, if you do a just sold property, those leads on average cost $7 each.
Okay.
In Texas, south of Dallas, we have clients getting them for $4 each.
Right.
I don't know about your market there, right? But if the average is $7 and you got a $50 ad on a sold ad advertising, it's going to be 7 leads, 7 and 49. So I don't know what the price of a lead would be right here. It could be $7. It could be $10. I don't know, but that's the cost per lead. And so once the ad has exhausted your money, it stops working. It's still active, but it's not doing anything because you got your money's worth from your lead count. So let's go look at your ads. Let's see what you've done. Oh, interesting. Okay. So you did a new construction.
Right.
I'm sure we talked about this because you drove people to a landing page and you got no leads?
None.
Yeah. Because people don't want to fill out a form. So this one, you got 3 leads.
But I
right?
stopped it early. I didn't realize I stopped it early.
Okay. And yeah, so, that's what it is. So you stopped it early. Yeah. You were getting leads at 475 each, 470,
Right.
which is a little more than average, but not bad. You get name, email, and phone number. So, the interesting thing about this one here is 49 people clicked it. That's a lot of interest. I don't even know what you did. But
There's some of these new homes out here, Vince, they were paying you 3%
yeah,
if you sold a home plus $10,000 bonus.
sure. Okay. Yeah. Cause they want to get them out of here. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you ran this ad in Chicago.
Yes.
A lot of interest there, right? Now I want to say, like, my guess is on new construction, like you're talking about the incentive from the builder.
Yes.
That was it to you. There was,
Right.
there was probably an incentive for the home buyer. Like
Right.
and because one of the things I've been hearing is a lender will buy down your mortgage. If that's going on and they're going to say, they'll sell at 4% mortgage, you got to put that right in the ad.
Right.
Because that's what everybody's tripping out about. They do not want to buy a home at 6 and 7%.
Correct.
If you say, hey, I can get you to buy new construction at 4%, click here to find out, you're going to have some results. I can't stress this enough. In our settings, let's go run an ad. So this is new construction, right? So let's go see what we did by default. And I can't, we got so many things going on. I can't like hammer
I know.
the team of like what we're doing, but that was new construction. So let's go. I don't know where that page is. That's FSBO. So that's the same picture, right?
I think it was at the top, Vince, where it said
Yeah, but
anywhere. Oh,
we
no.
did edit it with a different picture.
Yeah. Okay. So the picture was really good, actually. So
Right.
you want to use that for sure. You may have taken the picture out, but I would put it back in. And I typically don't even recommend running a new construction ad like
Okay.
the way you did.
Right.
I recommend, like, let's say, that there's a builder who is going to pay you a bonus and buy down stuff, right? And they're essentially saying, yeah, you sell one of these, I'm going to pay you. That's the story.
Right.
If that is the story, go here and grab the listing. If it's in the MLS, put it in,
Okay.
right? And run the ad that way. So let's say that this was the home that you just pulled in.
Right.
Now you go this way and you say, hey, this is new construction, Scottsdale. Lender, and say builder is buying down. You can buy at 4%. Target Chicago, Target wherever you are. I guarantee you, just putting the fact that somebody is buying down the loan, that's going to just, I think, be one of the most effective ads you can do. Not signing up for a list like this. And you could also say there are 20 more units coming online, right? Maybe there's 100. I don't even know, but you're not putting the name of it here. And one thing I would do, you see, it says 1069 Hedgewalk. That's the headline of the property. So you definitely want to think of this. That's the headline.
Right.
Where is this home?
Scottsdale.
Yeah. So the headline, I don't know why it's pulling it in this way. I'm going to say beautiful home. You want to spell it right? Just in Scottsdale. This is this particular home. But when you pull that listing in, if it has an address there, you don't want to be giving the address away.
Correct. Right.
So the reason why I did that, and this is not critical here, it's silly that the address is there. Maybe you manually.
That was because we were doing an open house there.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why
Yeah, that's why I had the address there.
Now it says beautiful home in Scottsdale. Now that's cool. But when you're doing it, you're going to pull that other one. If there's an address, don't do that. You want
Right.
to say new home in Scottsdale. That's the headline. And then up here, you can say new construction. And I like this text here. Okay. Might be effective. Nothing wrong with that. I would say here, It says new construction here. And you can say how many units are available. And then I would say, like, all this nonsense, I would no way. I'd just say, hey, builder offering the 4% mortgage. Like, that's what's stopping the market all over the country,
Exactly.
the rates. And if like, I just was listening to, who is it? It's Lennar, and their margins are coming down because they're having to spend like 13 or 17% in incentives to get things going. Leverage those incentives
Okay.
and do it with a listing. Don't say sign up for a list of whatever. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to sign up for a list ever since the internet and Zillow were invented. They know they can search for properties forever without signing up for anything.
Now, Vince, I was talking to another agent. He had a house. We sat in this house, the one you're looking at now, yesterday.
Yeah.
And we had one person through because it's gated and
Oh yeah.
you wait. And the house across the street, like where those garages are up
Yeah.
that, he has a home. It's $5 million. He had no one through. And he says between Zillow and all these other companies, he says, I doubt that we're going to be around for a while. So I don't know,
What does that mean? You're getting wiped out?
we're going to be extinct.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for the average realtor, true. But I don't think you're really the average realtor. I think you're still trying to figure out how you're going to leverage the internet. But if you continue to work with us or a company that's like us and understand, like, hey, I could have ran that ad in Santa Monica, and there's a lot of people trying to get out of California.
Right.
Huntington Beach. Huntington Beach is in the middle of Orange County, which is a super red county. People have money down there. And yeah, they want to get out of there. They're tired of fires and floods and this and that. And now you've got, again, if you're marketing 4% mortgage over there, that's the thing to be thinking about. And by the way, what day is this? Sorry. Is it Monday?
Yes, today's
Yes.
Sorry. I got
You're okay.
it. That's horrible.
But
Oh yeah. So I got a class on top tools and more listings in 45 minutes.
the good thing about your company, Vince, is that you have a lot of training. You have a lot of everything. It's just like you say, this is what you do twice a week and once a week.
Yes.
We're out there, we're floating around. What do we do now?
Yeah.
Before it was like candy, boom, sell this, sell that.
Yeah.
Now it's harder. So we need a company like yours. You know what I'm saying? Because you're always inventing and showing.
Yeah. Every year I see in the publications in real estate and in the groups, like the question of, should I hold an open house for my homeowner? Is it worth my time and their time for me to do that? And if you were a typical realtor putting your listing in the MLS waiting for other agents, I would say maybe not. But if you are like, hey, I'm going to door knock letters to these people, I'm going to run an ad, I'm going to blast out all my leads in my CRM with this open house deal, you're going to get a lot of leads. That's just how it's going to happen. And then it's worth your while.
You know what, Vince? I'm in it 12 years. I'm a broker. My wife's a broker.
Yeah.
I swear to God, every day I wake up, I feel like today's the first day I'm in real estate. I swear to God, it's not like, oh, wow, what are we doing today? I feel like I have no direction.
Yeah.
It's like I'm driving to California, but I don't have a road map. How the hell do I get there?
Yeah. Go west. Go west.
Yeah. But I love your program.
You have this document, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Like I would write somewhere 2 emails every week and 1 ad every week. Like that's what I would be doing. Now, obviously the budget's there, like the mail takes a budget and the ads take a budget. So you can scale down. You say, hey, we're going to do 1 ad a month, whatever. But
I'm not destitute. Vince.
No, but you want an ROI. You want the thing
exactly.
You've got wise agents. How many leads do you have in there?
We got a lot in Wise Agent.
Leverage our e-flyers, guys. You're going to re-engage those people.
Yeah.
Like start doing that and get your list of expireds in there and start hitting those people on a unique campaign, because it's not the best, because we all get 200 to 300 emails every day. So is it going to get lost? And that's where you got to think about what's that subject line, because
Correct.
Right.
that's
Right.
like really key. And you nailed it right there on when we were talking about the expireds. And yeah, that's a story. Do that, mail something to them once a month, because you're reinforcing the brand. They might see your emails, and then they're going to see something branded by your team and it could be any of the tools that we've been looking at today. And that's going to just help reinforce what's going on. One thing that I'll tell you, like, I don't know if you're doing print stuff. Like, you see this page right here.
Right.
This should be maybe not this page, because this looks like a nice luxury home, right? That doesn't look like, what's the average price point in Scottsdale now for a home?
What do you say, low 7?
Average is, it's close to $1 million.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. So I don't know, like, this is your default landing page here, right? This is integrated in a lot of your tools. You should find a photograph, not of this street, because this is not going to be that effective if it doesn't look like Scottsdale.
Right.
I don't have trees like that.
Exactly. And so it's like, I would change this photo, not to this, because that kind of self-select.
Right. That's
like,
more of a luxury. That could be a
Yeah.
$2 million home.
and you can use that for that kind of situation, but you could make this, it could look like downtown Scottsdale. It could look like an evening shot of the famous mall where people are walking around, whatever is like super Scottsdale or super, that's part of Phoenix, right? Something like
Sure.
that's going to make me think like, okay, you know my area. That's going to make this thing more effective. And then you could say, now that we have that and that looks like this area, let's do an email blast on our team, on our leads in Wise Agent, or let's do a postcard once a month to these people. Let's mail our expireds as we're getting them, that kind of thing, because it's going to have that picture. And you can make it generic. So you just print out a bunch and you mail them as they come in.
It's nice to have the picture of their home, but then you're limited to that one.
Yeah, I never say to put a picture of a home on a home value page, because it's not, this is a great photograph and it's getting clicks. But if I live there, is that what my home looks like? Because it's worth testing, but I'm always like, use a landmark. Let me show you something. So
That home there is $4 million.
I don't,
I'd like to live there.
so I set up the offices around the country, and I usually train the offices when I do that. And I set up Coldwell Banker in New Jersey, Summit, New Jersey, 24,000 people. This little restaurant is on Main Street, and you can tell what it is, right? It's like
Summit. I know
Eric-
Summit. Yeah.
right. That's the number one landing page for getting home value leads at Summit Coldwell Banker.
Really?
It's not the $1 million property. It's, do you know my area? You know what I mean? Like, because you're asking people for their address and they want to know that I'm working with somebody that knows my area.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on when you do something that's like what the locals know. Everybody in Summit knows this probably.
Exactly.
And that's what you're trying to do, is convey, I know your.
There's a sign, Scott, Vince, it's in Old Scottsdale. It's as you go in, not into, when you're in Old Scottsdale, there's this guy, it's a wooden thing. And everybody knows that Scottsdale. It's a guy, a cowboy with a rope. What's
Yeah. This guy.
Yeah, that everybody knows that.
You should have a picture of that. And I would say, get your smartphone, wait for the sun to start going down so the sky's
Right.
really beautiful.
Yeah.
And don't put that in the center. Like, you want that. You see how this one is on the side?
Yeah.
Because remember, your form is going to have a big window here. So you kind of want it framed over here somewhere, and take a few photos so that it fits right. But that totally makes sense to me.
Because people know when you say, first of all, when we get down there, we see a lot of people down there. These are visitors. We
Yeah.
don't get down here.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a tourist attraction, and but
Which-
everybody knows that sign.
So I'll tell you another story along these lines. Like, there's a town by me called Livermore, and Livermore, it's almost an hour out of San Francisco, but it has the largest shopping place, right? Like outlet stores. And like you got this kind
Oh,
of,
yep,
like everybody has these now, right?
yep, yep.
And on Christmas, there's an hour-long line to get off the freeway to get to this place.
Wow.
A mile-long line. I'm sorry, a mile-long line. So it's like, and I said, and I'm talking to this broker out there. I'm like, why don't you put this picture? And she's like, yeah, we live out here in Livermore because we like wine. It's a wine country. It's like,
Okay.
and so she's like, this is the Winty wine place.
Okay.
She had this picture. It was actually this picture right here. She goes, this is what it looks like for Christmas. I said, let's put that in. And that's what the locals know.
Right.
And you want to think of that. And that's why that Summit, New Jersey thing, like the local,
Right.
is that a tourist place? No, it's the thing
It's
that
a landmark.
Yeah, it's a landmark that every local knows. And since you're asking people for their information, maybe they'll know this and they'll like that because, oh yeah, that's us, right? But I'm just saying, like, you need to definitely take advantage of that. And then once you created that landing page and you customized it to your market, use that in your mailing or
Right.
use that. There's a letter. It's a letter that Scott talked about on the back of this page. And I might actually say, let's edit this page. You could say, you could change that background picture.
Right.
Now, I don't think you want to just target on Scottsdale. You might say, and this is foreign fields, what is your Arizona home worth? And that way, wherever they are, they could be in Chandler, they can be in Mesa, they could be Phoenix, Scottsdale. It's going to be relevant to them. And if you have a picture that's of Scottsdale, it's even more relevant to them. And still, it's going to be relevant to everybody in the Phoenix area because they're all going to know, like, oh, you're a local realtor. You could go through the effort of making different pages, one for Chandler and one for whatever,
Right.
but I don't really think it's worth that. I think you just make that a custom picture that's looking like your core market and you use the same landing page.
Like if you got an average kind of home in Arizona, you're not going 4 million, you're not going
Yeah.
200, a mil. Oh, that sort of looks like our home.
Yeah. But don't forget, you're not putting a home in the back of that page.
Okay.
You're putting a landmark that shows, Arizona.
Okay.
And that could be, I don't know. You figure it out, but don't put a home back there.
Okay. I understand what you're saying, Scott.
Yeah.
Because people can relate to, oh, I know where that is.
Yeah. At least they're going to know you're in Arizona because our default landing page look is like, I don't even know what that is. Like that's
Right.
not your market.
Exactly. It's
you're-
like Connecticut.
Even a picture, Larry, of Camelback Mountain or
Yeah,
the monk in the front.
Yeah.
People know that.
totally.
Monk Mountain. Everybody knows Monk Mountain. Not everybody. The people
Yeah.
that live here know it.
Yeah. Like that might be awesome. And like do those little things and that gives you the print tools that you need. Guys, I need to have a little coffee and rest my voice. I got another
Yeah.
hour.
All right.
Well, thank you
I
so much.
really appreciate you, Vince, because you go into the end of it. With
Yeah.
Scott, he goes halfway and then he changes to something else.
I
What did you
know.
say?
Yeah.
He also speaks like one of those speed speakers.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Scott and I have been best friends since college and he's a great personality, right?
Oh, yeah.
And people love listening to him. They just aren't able to gather what the heck he's talking about. And for me, I focus on our sales and I could be a slick sales guy, but that doesn't make this thing work. It works.
Right.
To know what you can do.
You're going to send us this recording?
I will.
Thank you so
Now,
much.
one other thing, Vince, is that do you guys go to the national conventions?
That we haven't in a long time. We might start going again. The thing is, it costs a lot of money for us.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's thousands of agents running around and we've been doing this for 15 years now. Our brand actually resonates more. When we used to do it, nobody knew who we were. We are kind of like a small time player. We're still a small time player, but more people know us. It might be worth it again. But when we first started, I think our pricing was $25 a month. And then it went to 40. We still have people paying 40 a month. And that's where we're about to increase our price, where the new price is like $95 for everything you got here. It might be worth it now. When those agents go to those things, it's like they're drinking from a fire hose, and they come because they know us, they meet us, and they disappear and they never come back. So the ROI for us has really never been there. I can tell you, I told Scott and Yi this a couple of years ago, like, guys, this is just not paying. We're not making money on it, because when you do an investment, you want a 3, 5, or 10x money back, not losing money every time. It's in our interest to take care of our clients, do these trainings so that they can learn, so that they can get value out of it. And then they tell their clients, or
That's what I'm doing. I love it. I just wish I could explain it better to them without them going, what the hell are you talking about?
that's why
That's why
that's
one
why
of-
you, yeah,
I
that's,
need one of you guys to be at the
Yeah. tell me when.
face to face.
Yeah, I do
Oh.
this all day long. I know how this thing works. And like you, Scott and I do help our clients figure out how to unlock the value for their business.
Well, we have two groups. Lois and I are the head of our luxury division for our company. We have 3,000 agents. We have how many agents?
We have 42.
We have
in our
42,
luxury
and these
division.
are heavy hitters.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to be the head because I got nothing.
Yeah.
Selling $3, $4, $5 million homes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would like to bring you into one of those classes, not classes, but even not video,
Zoom.
a Zoom, so you could explain this. This is such a great tool for little money.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right, guys.
All right, Vince.
Appreciate you, Vince.
You're welcome. Let me know when you want to do a call.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to a team leader and say, what's a good day? Give you the dates and
Yeah.
then say, okay, I could do it on this day.
It's always it's gonna be a Thursday,
No problem.
because every Thursday we either have a team meeting or a tech meeting. So
What time is that?
It's
2:30 our
2:30
time.
our time.
Okay, no problem. That works for me.
All right. I'd rather you
All
be
right.
there, because if Scott's there, he'll be like all over the place.
Yeah, and it can, I think it turns people off because they don't know what the heck this thing is still.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, but whatever. Have me
All
on.
right.
We'll get there.
Thanks a lot, Vince, for your time. Believe
All
me.
right. All right. You guys have a good day. Talk to you
You
soon.
too. Bye now.